Hello, my name is Kanisha Roberts in Education 525, and this is my professional disposition video. First question: what disposition do you think will make you a successful teacher? Well, disposition in standard 1 and disposition in standard 2, which are learner development, and learner differences. I picked learner development because I will use data to drive my instruction, and I will take family into consideration and encourage community engagement. Learner differences because I expect great things for all of my students, and I encourage them to love themselves and be confident and love one another. And also with that will build community and build a sense of community within the classroom. Number 2, what disposition do you need to work on before you enter the classroom as a first-year teacher, and what are your plans? Well, disposition in standard 4 and in 5. Content knowledge and application of content. My plan is to go to different conferences in professional development. I'm currently working on different strategies and misconceptions as I go to grad school at Graham County University. And for number 5, I plan on exposing myself to more current events and articles around the world to discuss more global and local news, to give my students to have more deep conversations with my students and allow them to think critically and ask deeper questions to drive the conversation. Number 3, how does the disposition demonstrate your ability to understand other cultures, gender, and learning differences to build strong relationships with students and families? Well, I embrace my students and encourage them to be confident and introduce themselves and their families and their culture and their family, and talk about their family history. And I allow them, and I want them to express themselves during assignments and projects. I also want them to speak their home languages, which will introduce other students and as well as myself about their different cultures and get to know them even better. Part 2 of question 3 says, how do potential biases affect teaching? Well, I believe that some may assume that ESOL English language learners, or students of other different ethnicities, don't know as much as they do, and they treat them different just because they may look a certain way, or look differences, or stereotypes, or language barriers, and that will affect their learning because they won't even give them a chance, or they'll just shut them down or won't challenge them enough. Number 4, how do you anticipate using feedback from your annual performance evaluations, observation, data on student performance to adjust your disposition and teaching practices to benefit learning? Well, but the feedback would tell me my strongest areas I need to work on, and help me set SMART goals, which are how I would measure I would start to think about how I would measure my goals and give myself a deadline for these goals to achieve these goals. And that will address misconceptions and ultimately benefit the learning environment as a whole as I teach. Thank you. Goodbye.